Thank you, brothers and sisters. Gee, seems like it's 10 years since we had a rally.
In more than a decade at the top of one of the most powerful union branches in Victoria, John Setka has earned a reputation as a powerful and feared advocate for his more than 35,000 members.
Who do they all come to in the end to help them out? And who's the only organisation that can help them out? It's the CFMEU.
Setka is the Victorian State Secretary of the Construction, Forestry and Maritime Employees Union. Over the years, it has flexed its muscle on the streets, such as protests over lockdowns during COVID.
An angry mob takes over Melbourne's streets, bringing the city to a standstill.
His union role and his sometimes fractious personal life have seen him appear in court numerous times. Support from his members never wavered.
We spend $2.5 million trying to protect Australians against terrorists, but we'll spend $100 million trying to destroy unions.
Perhaps nothing attracted Setka's ire more than the Australian Building and Construction Commission, which was re-established by the former coalition government in 2016. Senator Michaelia Cash was a Minister for Industrial Relations and Attorney General in the previous coalition government.
The intent of the Australian Building and Construction Commission was to ensure that there was a tough cop on the beat so that taxpayers didn't foot the additional costs that are now being imposed on them. So ultimately, it was about holding bad behaviour in the construction industry to account.
For 5 years, the commissioner of the ABCC was Stephen McBurney, until it was dissolved by the current Labor government in 2023.
Tom, it'll be your call, heads or tails. Good luck.
McBurney is also a long-time AFL umpire, and in April this year, he returned to the league as the head of officiating.
Steve McBurney, welcome back to umpiring.
Great to be back, Eddie.
Why are you back?
Look, I've always had a passion for umpiring.
McBurney's new role was too much for John Setka.
He was the head of the ABCC, who was the union-busting coalition watchdog that sort of came after construction workers and workers in general. And for him to go to the AFL now, you know, the Australia's #1 sport, and be in charge of the umpires, I just reckon it's an absolute travesty.
Setka's union branch has put McBurney in its sights. Weeks earlier, in this social media post, the union threatened to bog down AFL building projects, like Tasmania's new stadium, if McBurney isn't sacked. God forgives, the CFMEU doesn't. Our members will not be building or supporting any projects that the AFL are involved in, whilst they support oxygen thieving, anti-worker maggots like Stephen McBurney. Last week, Setka backtracked a bit, saying his members would still work on projects like the new Hobart Stadium, but slowly, within the rules. The AFL was defiant and said McBurney isn't going anywhere.
Will you sack him or back him?
Steve McBurney, 400-game umpire, umpired four grand finals. Got a very experienced outside of football as well. He started in his role only quite recently, but he's had a massive impact, and he's been really good for the AFL and really good for the umpires. So he'll be staying at the AFL.
And the federal government too has now reacted to Setka's work slowdown threat, announcing it will introduce legislation to allow part of the CFMEU to break away.
It became clear when we saw John Setka's comments about the AFL that the construction division at the moment is not behaving in a way that lends itself towards constructive outcomes. The construction division, while we'd been considering what we might do, that attack on the AFL really made the decision clear and made the timing immediate.
The proposed law could see the union split apart if divisions vote to leave.
The manufacturing division includes people in the textiles industry, an overwhelmingly feminised sector. To associate those members with the attacks on the AFL because of someone's previous employment based on an organisation that's been abolished, for that to somehow be a priority for an organisation instead of looking after its members just beggars belief.
The CFMEU said in a statement using legislation to determine union coverage would set a dangerous precedent, and it highlighted its bargaining wins for better pay and conditions for workers. One of Australia's biggest unions is now on a collision course with Anthony Albanese's Labor government. Some have criticized the lack of strong condemnation of Setka's threats.
It's a matter for the AFL.
So is it buggery to try and unseat McBurney?
It's a matter for the AFL.
That matter is a matter for the AFL and the CFMEU.
Mr Albanese is beholden to the unions. They are beholden to the unions because of the financial donations in the millions of dollars that are given from the CFMEU to the Australian Labor Party.
Setka has already announced he's stepping down later this year. As someone who's fought so many union battles, this could be his last.